Hey everyone, welcome back to another installment of our series, where we take a look at the myriad ways that pop culture figures continue to misunderstand Marvel Comics characters, stories, and concepts. Today, we're talking about the God of Thunder, Asgardian Avenger, and MCU fan favorite. But for all his lightning and lore, Marvel fans still get a lot wrong about him. So buckle up. Here are 8 things the MCU gets wrong about Thor. Let's do this. We'll start with something the MCU seems to want to fix in their Phase 5 run with Love and Thunder, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on in this list. But first, let's talk about Thor's family. Specifically, we're talking about Hela and his parentage. Now, Hela isn't even technically Thor's sister in the comics and Loki? Adopted. Thor actually has a whole godly brood of siblings, like Balder, Tyr, Hermod, and Angela. Yes, that Angela. And it's through his true mother, the elder goddess Gaia, that Thor is connected to multiple mythological pantheons, making him one of the most cosmically connected characters in all of Marvel. Now, if you're confused, don't worry. We're not even fully clued in ourselves. Asgard and the 9 realms are complex, deeply personal places, and as much as we love to oversimplify them, there are some things that just cannot be simplified. And while the MCU has done a good job so far of introducing us to some of Thor's relatives, they also changed the name of Thor's mother from Frigga to Gaia, which in terms of Norse mythology is like changing Odin to Zeus. She is the Greek goddess of the earth and mother to all life. And like any mother, she would obviously want her children to learn some humility. How do you teach a headstrong god like Thor about humility? Well, Odin gave him amnesia and put him on Earth as a normal dude named Donald Blake. Except, still super strong and with his trusty hammer hidden nearby. Eventually, Thor regained his memory and returned to Asgard, defeating his evil alternate self Malekith the Dark along the way. But remember Donald Blake? Yeah, he didn't disappear. In fact, in an awesome story from Jason Aaron and Esad Ribic, Donald Blake eventually becomes his own person, albeit a villainous one. See, Donald became fixated on the idea that if he could become Thor, he could have whatever he wanted. So he aligned himself with Kull, the most evil version of Thor who ever existed. Yep, there are multiple versions of Thor from across the multiverse. There's the mainstream Thor. We know the Ultimate Thor. We know the Ultimate Thor. We know the Thor from the Ultimate Thor Core. We know the Thor of the 1610 universe and many others. Thor from Earth 616 helped defend the multiverse against these evil Thors, proving that despite his many faults, he is still a hero. Now, if you've seen Thor, Ragnarok, then you know that Odin essentially put Mjolnir under a geas or an enchantment that prevented Thor from using its full power until he proved himself worthy. This led to some fans theorizing that maybe Odin was punishing Thor for his arrogance, that he was keeping Mjolnir from him to teach his son a lesson. In reality, Odin put this enchantment on Mjolnir because it couldn't handle Thor's immense power. See, Mjolnir isn't just a magic hammer, it's the physical manifestation of the god Tempest, a cosmic storm of godly energy contained within the metal of the hammerhead. Now, this power is too great to be controlled by anyone other than the most worthy, and in Thor's case, even he had to prove himself worthy. It was Odin who decided that Mjolnir needed to be kept away from Thor, not the other way around. Okay, let's get something out of the way right now. Thor does not get weaker without Mjolnir. He just gets smarter. Listen, Mjolnir is powerful, sure, but Thor is the storm. His lightning powers come from his bloodline, the godly fusion of Odin and Gaia. When Thor lost Mjolnir in the unworthy Thor storyline, he still battled gods, monsters, and the universe itself. The hammer didn't make Thor powerful, it only focused what was already within him. Sure, he has to channel his abilities through hand movements instead of magically enhanced swings, but it doesn't diminish his power in any capacity. Also, we should mention that Thor being banished from Asgard and losing Mjolnir was due to his overconfidence and him needing to learn humility. This is a classic character-building arc that the MCU is ignoring completely. Speaking of classic character-building arcs, Thor is not just a loudmouth meathead who throws hammers and throws one-liners. Nope. Thor is a tactical genius who's trained in leadership, philosophy, and warfare across the 10 realms. He's been a gladiator, a spy, and even a teacher. Plus, when he was living on Earth as Dr. Donald Blake, he was a respected doctor. So yeah, Thor can punch, but he can also plan. He's not a himbo, he's a king. Have you seen how many pieces of media have portrayed Thor? Even when he's played by actors known primarily for comedic timing, like Chris Hemsworth, Thor still manages to be a leader and a capable fighter, even if said portrayal dials back his intellect just slightly. Okay, this one might be more of a nitpick, but let's dispel a rumor. Thor is not immortal, though he does age very slowly. In Jason Aaron's King Thor saga, we see an extremely old Thor, who is revered as a legend throughout the cosmos. He's fought alongside Silver Surfer, Galactus, and even had his own Guardians of the Galaxy for a time. But the story makes it clear that even gods fall. In a heartbreaking moment, we witness Thor passing away after saving all of Asgard from destruction, only to be resurrected by the All-Father ritual that allows the most sacred of Asgardian warriors to cheat death and live on in their descendants. Even gods get tired, old, and die. Now, if you've seen Thor, Ragnarok, then you know that Hela killed Thor by slashing out his eye. While this was a shocking image to behold on screen, it's not actually what happened in the comics. The closest thing to it happened when Malekith chopped off Thor's arm. Why? Because Thor lost faith in himself after the villainous Gore the God Butcher shook him to his core by killing everyone he ever cared about. You want to talk about a tragic tale? Check out that God Butcher run by Jason Aaron. It's amazing. Anyway, Thor loses his arm, which symbolizes his broken faith and his unworthiness. After regrouping with the help of his friends, Thor regains his arm and defeats Malekith. So, yeah, Thor gets injured all the time, but he's always got a backup. Literally, even gods need their beauty sleep. Well, that wraps up this list. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please hit that thumbs up button and let us know what other things the MCU gets wrong about Thor in the comments below. I know I certainly did. Until next time, everyone, rock on.